Hello, Deborah Leanne here, and time for a little bit of authentic life. A slice of my life at this point in time, and um, I hope that it brings you some new awareness or connection to a part of yourself that may feel out of sorts. Today's topic is around the what to do when we kind of get in that downward spiral. I had such a good morning, starting off my day with a new meditation practice and journaling and setting my day in writing and having a really good conversation with my business coach and the candidate that I voted for yesterday and our city's alderman election, but it was a woman and she won, and that was exciting. So lots of really good momentum to the beginning of the day. And I believe that momentum comes from focus, which gives us clarity, which then allows that momentum to take shape. Oh, sorry, it was nice and quiet and the birds were singing, and now some big loud car had to go by. The birds are out there playing in a friend's neighbor's sprinkler, and they are just delightful in their chittering and bird song because they are having such a nice time playing in the sprinkler. But back inside where it's quiet and the hum of the air conditioning unit will be the background noise. So this place of being in momentum and being in flow is such a beautiful space. This tends to be when we're in creative mode. It tends to be when we are doing what we love, where we lose track of time, and it just actually time sometimes bends for me. It actually feels like you can get so much more done in such a short period of time when you're in the art of creating or in the arc of your talents and gifts and contributing them to the world. And artists understand this when they're writing or painting or for me, sometimes it's in the garden or cooking. I don't realize how much time is passing. And it's because I'm in the art of, I'm in the moment, fully immersed in what I'm up to and doing. And that kind of focus achieves clarity where we're tapped into our intuition. We're tapped into just knowing what the next step is, what the next color to add, or the right words, or that next bit of oregano that we're prompted to go get from the garden and add to the dish. Each of these nudges we're able to hear it because we're in that space of clarity and flow and momentum. What happens is I tend to be on a roll, and then I add a bit too much, or I'm not listening to my body that it's time to take a break, or I start feeling like I have to work really hard to beat the clock on meeting some deadline. Or in the case of today, I was starting to receive all of these referrals from this new referral software that I had tapped into. And it was exciting. I had never had so many things come through to me. And I was bidding on projects and for speaking and consulting and coaching. And then I realized, this is a free service, they were making money on every person they were referring to me. And I was getting charged for each of the people, not even just the ones that were looking at my bids and responding, but the others that were just shopping around. I was getting charged for them being sent my way. So I started looking into it, and of course that's when my whole flow was broken, because I started getting into my head about, well, see, It can't be that easy. And see, you need to pay for these things. They aren't going to come to you just for no reason. And all of my self-doubt and confusion and everything came into play. And I kept at it. And I thought, well, if I just create the best profile and I go in and I learn about the upgrade, and what does that get me if I'm upgraded to a professional at this level, and is it going to save me money? And I just get lost in the place of technology sometimes, and in learning new things, and in setting up new systems, and it's fun for a while, and then it's not. And then the more I do, I lost a whole page of a beautiful a letter or a response that I was composing that would be the auto response to anyone that was asking about my speaking services. And I don't know how, but I hit one thing and it was off that page and it was gone. And I couldn't get back to it. And I was devastated. And I thought, all that time, all the making sure I was using all of the right words and the energy behind the words, and I just, that was it. And that's when I want to just quit. And instead of realizing that I just need to take a break, I start going into the downward place of, why do I try, and why do I think it's going to be easy, and who do I think I am that I could get all of these amazing opportunities just coming through the door like flooding into the door. I'm not kidding you, 35 or something referrals in the last 24 hours, which is more than I've had, probably since the beginning of 2017. So it was it was exciting. And instead of riding the wave of excitement, I tried to force it into something different. I tried to look at the meaning underneath it. I tried to second guess the universe. I basically stood in the doorway, put up a wall, and closed it all off. And now I'm sitting here wondering if I disconnect from this service. Do I call customer service and ask for my money back? I mean, and none of those options feel good. So meanwhile, I kept thinking, I need to write my newsletter, and I want to do the podcast. And that's always a good feeling thing for me. And I love the energy of creating, and I love the being connected within and without, and showing up and shining who I am to the world, which is more than enough, I realize. But I don't always stay in the place of knowing that. And I'm wondering if this happens for you. I'm wondering if once you get into that place where you're second guessing and you're doubting, how do you snap out of it? So here's what I did. I wrote a list of all of the reasons why I love to do my podcast. I love to write my newsletter. I got quiet and tuned in and found the quiet space within that is me, my essence, my gift to the world, my light. And first of all, I needed to give myself compassion and kindness, and observing that what happened earlier was just a result of maybe not recognizing that my body needed a break, that I needed to go and grab something to drink. She says as she gets a sip of water, that I needed to stop and go outside and breathe and feel the hot air and listen to the birds, that I needed to reconnect, my mind and my heart and my body and my soul, which is ever expanding and wanting more and more and more to create and be a bigger version of me. And so much of my system, my body, my heart and my mind are resistant to. And that resistance looks like getting stuck, looks like being distracted, looks like, going down a rabbit hole that the whole thing gets lost. Looks like feeling like I'm not enough. Looks like all kinds of the yucky stuff. I mean, it's really yucky. It just feels, it feels difficult and hard and like I'm not cut out for this. And I know better. So when I stop that momentum from going in that direction, which is not easy, it's not pretty, and it feels really ugly, I don't know, distasteful in my system, and connect back in through my breath, through feeling my feet, through getting up and moving around in my space, changing the scenery, connecting to the sky and the trees and the birds, knowing that what I'm seeing right now is just a result of what I was doing up until that moment. It's not who I am now, and it's not who I am where I'm going. And then I can close that door and look again at what I want to create. Who am I in this moment? What wants to come through me? And so after changing the topic 3 times on this, the write-up describing this podcast today, I realized this is where I need to go. It's so much about being in flow and being in the creative and conscious, aware space where I can shine, or I have a choice. I can hang out in that reactive mode that is just really reacting to the circumstances. It's reacting to the inner thoughts and patterns and stories. It's reacting to, oh my gosh, it's so hot outside. It's reacting to all of that. And that is a place that is not where leaders need to hang out very much. Because if we're leading, we're consciously creating something new. We're leading to change, or for change, or through change. When we are strictly reacting to what has been, then we're in this victim mode. We're kind of putting out fires. We're trying to put Band-Aids on things that are probably bleeding out, right? They may just need to die away of their own accord. What needs to be created? What wants to be created now? What wants to come through me in response to this? And I have a choice. And when I tap into that expansive, feel-good space, it's delicious. And I don't feel like I want to go look for something sweet. I don't have anything sweet in my house anyway, unless I want a teaspoon of honey or something. But sometimes it's like I just want to have juice, or go get a peach, or even get a protein bar because it's got something that's feeding me on some level, and I just need the satisfaction of putting something in my mouth. And that's always a distraction for me. When I know that I'm out looking for something to eat and it's not even really something I need or want at the moment. I just am wanting to numb the pain. I'm wanting to make go away the discomfort, the ugly feeling, the yucky feeling of change. And it's that resistance. It doesn't taste good to me anymore. So now I'm starting to recognize it earlier. And I can literally back up and turn around and go the other way. I have an amazing coach, trainer friend that I knew years ago who used to say, and you can pivot on a dime in that, without even moving. You just turn around in the very same space you're at, face a different direction, and head off from there. You don't have to keep going in that direction, especially when it's starting to get filled with brambles and technology craziness. And there's times when you do need to push through that if it feels good and it's on its way to get something new coming through you. But when it starts to just be, oh, not again, another, screw up and I lost all of that, stopping for me and taking a quick look around, just like I would if I was lost on a trail, on a hike, I would stop. As soon as I realized this didn't look right, and I would sit and I would really think about it before I retraced my steps or went forward or looked right or left. I would want to see where I'm at and really feel into what's the next best direction. What's the next best step for me to take? Is it to wait for somebody to find me? Is it to keep going in the direction I know? Is it to feel for the wind and the sun direction to see, oh, okay, now if that sun's going down that way, that means that's west, and I really need to be heading east to get back to the parking lot. There's lots of ways to determine and discern what is right. What's my next best step? And I choose to spend way more time in consciously creating, in the flow, with my canoe pointed downstream, with the current. Wow. It's like harnessing the extra universal energy that's going in that direction and just going there, allowing it to take me. When that happens, I can enjoy the ride. I can enjoy the scenery. I can appreciate the ease with which we're floating and moving. We're still moving. We're moving in a new direction, but we're moving in a direction that I don't have to work hard. And I don't want this to sound like you never have to work hard, because that's not always true. But you can choose to do the work with joy. You can choose to do, recently I've been cleaning my house, which is not my favorite thing. But there's times where I am so in the moment of enjoying it that the time flies by and I enjoy it. It's a very new concept for me, who never thought I would ever enjoy cleaning and housekeeping. So, the other thing I wanted to point out about having your boat going in the direction of the current is when you are fighting the current and going against the current, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of forcing, there's a lot of striving, there's a lot of energy expense. And there's times when we choose to do that for short periods to get someplace new. And there's times when it doesn't make sense to do that. We did that once. I was in a canoe with a couple of other people, and the one guy was an experienced canoe person. The woman was a advanced canoe person, and I'm relatively a novice. And we were going against the current at the confluence where the Mississippi and the Missouri rivers come together. And we were on a little side tributary, but it was fierce, fighting against that and going and going and going. And after about 30 minutes, we pulled over to an island, and we had we had brought snacks and, bread and granola bars and all that good stuff and something to drink. Then we got back in the canoe and we went against the current a little bit longer. So we probably went against the current probably close to an hour. And then we turned around and we put the canoe back in and put our oars in the boat and just choom, in less than 10 minutes, we were back to our original spot. It was so fast. so amazing and so much fun. And that made the effort kind of like climbing up a hill so that you can ski down it, or climbing to the top of a high dive so you can dive off. I mean, there's something really wonderful about doing it that way. And noticing if I'm in the creative consciousness choice or if I'm feeling like a victim. Because that coming from a place of reactiveness where I am strictly at the mercy of all of my circumstances it'll tear down a lot of our fabric of our power, especially if it becomes chronic. And that's actually a form of abuse. When the same repeated injuring behavior is applied over and over in a chronic fashion, that is one of the ways to define abuse. Emotional, physical, mental, doesn't matter. And when we do that to ourselves, it's such a, it hurts. It hurts so much of our spirit, kind of beats us down. So the more we practice the conscious creating and being in the flow and finding the easier way where the universe is supporting us, and noticing when we're starting to go down the hill of this isn't worth it, this can't happen, why would I possibly feel like I could be in the flow of receiving all of this good stuff, feeling the magic of that, and then flipping it around and finding all of the things wrong with it, which stops the flow and immediately puts a block on any of the beauty of that magic coming towards me. And noticing it sooner so that I can get back onto the joy and into the flow and into the momentum and into the clarity that feels good. I think we're starting to really see that joy is an underutilized business strategy. It's an appreciated value. It's not given its credit. But when we are happier and in joy, so much happens much more quickly and so much easier, and production soars, profitability just happens, and the right people and the right alignment and the projects and the opportunities fall into place more easily because we're in a right vibration for it to be so. When we are out of alignment, out of integrity, out of our joy, it makes everything so much more difficult. So that's one of the new bumpers, if you will. If you think about, when little kids go to the bowling alley and they put those blow up bumpers along the side to guide the ball straight down so it won't go into the gutters. Those bumpers of joy and clarity for me, those help to keep me on the path, if you will, which I wish was straight and easy to see to the end, but it's always straight for the next step or two. And then I have to trust that the rest of it will continue lighting up as I continue taking steps. Did any of this resonate with you? I would love to hear from you. Thank you for those who have written to me. It's so, satisfying. It's so rewarding. It helps me to know that I'm speaking to people who are also feeling similarly on their paths and on their journeys. And I am curious where some of this might be confusing to you, where you could use a conversation or a clarity check. And if I could be of assistance in that arena as well. I so appreciate this opportunity to share with you. Thank you so much for listening. And until our next time together, keep shining. The world needs your light, and you need to shine it just as much for you as you do for everyone else. Thank you. Bye-bye.